The God that lost his mind. After sitting above the heavens for all eternity, in a split second, God decided to forget who he is. God decided to lose his mind. In the fall from above the heavens into the universe, he created the heavens and earth. In the center of that universe, he placed the heart and soul of every being. No being was higher than other beings. Every particle of dust and every heart of man weighed equally in his eyes. One day, God decided to come down to earth to remember who he was. Since humans were the beings with the highest intellect, he decided to ask them first if they knew who he is. "My son, I have lost my mind. Do you know by any chance who I am?" asked God. "You don't exist," said the atheist. "But I am here. Can't you see me with thy eyes? Can't you hear me with thy ears? Can't you feel thy presence in your presence? I can only see myself. I can only hear myself. I can only feel my own presence on this hollow earth. In my world, God is nothing, and I am everything," in contempt answered the non-believer. God accepted the answer from his son and moved on to ask other human beings. Down the road, he saw an agnostic who seemed confused about the nature of his existence. "I see the confusion of your face, my son," said God. "I wanted to ask you if you know who I am, but I feel you are more lost than me. Do you know who I am?" "I don't know who you are. I don't even know who I am," said the agnostic. "All my life I have questioned the existence of God and self. In the abundance of questions, I found only the absence of answers. I understand your state of affairs. I find myself in a similar situation now. Would you like to join me in the search so we can find answers together?" asked God. "Very kind offer, but I prefer to seek answers for myself," said the agnostic. "My greatest fear is that my questions have no answers. Or maybe the answers I seek can't be known, for they are forever unknowable." "I hope both of us one day learn who we are," said God, and continued his search for his lost mind. God walked and walked on this earth searching for himself. Underneath a bodhi tree, he saw a man sitting in meditation. On his face, God saw peace and tranquility he hadn't seen in other humans before. This gave God internal peace, since he thought the Buddha man perhaps knows who God is. "My son, you who sits cross-legged, do you know who I am?" asked God from Buddha. "You are the one who is forever changing, forever transforming," answered the Buddha. "You are the great mind that creates all other minds." "Thank you for your answer, my son. There seems to be some truth in your answer. But I have lost my mind, and I am now trying to search for it on this earth. If I was the great mind, then I would never be searching," said God, and left the Buddha in his quiet meditation and contemplation of the nature of emptiness and form. Quiet desperation started to weigh in on God's soul. He became disheartened, for no human hearts knew him. Despite his despair, in great faith, he continued to walk. Walking down the godless earth, God stumbled upon a crowd. He asked the crowd if they knew who he was, but the crowd pointed to a man standing on a cross. "You should ask that man," they said, pointing to the man on the cross who claimed to be God. "You, my son, who stands on the cross, do you know who I am?" asked God from Jesus. I am your son, my dear God. You created me and all this earth, so one day, when you lost your mind, you would come down to earth so I can tell you I am you. You and I are one. You are God, my Father, who sits above the heavens. But if you are who you say you are, said God, then why are you standing there, dying on the cross? I'm not dying, my dear God. I can't die. I'm only paying for the sins of all your children whom you asked but couldn't answer who you are. I am paying for the ignorance of all those who had lost their mind. But forgive them, Father, for they knew not what they do. Then God remembered who He is. He was the atheist and the agnostic. He was the Buddha and Christ. He was the one who had to lose his mind in order to find it again.